there's so much detail behind Oliver's work. When his team first sent the deck over to me, it was, I think, 216 slides. And then it took us 3 meetings to just cull those slides down in some shape or form. All right, we have a really phenomenal session coming up, and it is not Trevor Noah. We have Raheel Khan. Raheel is the SVP of Foresight and Intelligence at the Estée Lauder Companies. He has a few more things in his title, growth, et cetera, too, and AI. But what's really interesting about hearing Raheel speak is I always get confused because he works at a beauty company, but it comes across as if he works at a tech company that also incidentally happens to be in the beauty business. So you're going to enjoy this presentation by Raheel. Please welcome him to the stage.
Hello. Hi, everyone. So my name is Raheel. I am delighted to be here. I have the privilege of leading the AI strategy for the Estée Lauder Companies. And it's an honor, really, to be here as the opening act for Trevor Noah. And don't worry, I won't eat into his time too much because I think he's stuck in traffic. So, I'm going to have to warm you guys up to, get ready for what he has to share. OK, so let's get started. So I'm going to talk to you about 3 things. Number 1, AI as a strategy, right? How do we think about AI? Big picture stuff, 5 minutes on that. Number 2, I'm going to talk to you. So we've been doing generative AI for the last 1.5 years at our company. And we've had a lot of learnings. And I figured that it'd be good to share with you the learnings that we've had so that you guys can sort of accelerate your journey in generative AI. And number 3, I'm actually going to show you AI in practice, which is really around an end-to-end case study that I'm going to show to you. OK, so look, at this point, I hope everybody is on this journey that AI is really going to be transformative, and it's going to change everything that we do. So then the question is, what is our AI strategy? Well, you know what? There is no AI strategy. There is a company strategy. And AI's job is to deliver that strategy, right? AI is the how. So at Estée Lauder Companies, right? So we are a prestige beauty pure play. We have a portfolio of 25 plus brands in our company. Each has its unique brand identity. And so what is the strategy? We are brand builders. We nurture the equity of each of our brands. And we do it so that we can deliver high-quality products to consumers and across benefits that they need, number 1. Right? Number 2, we want to give high level of personalization to them at retail. And number 3, we want to be able to really give them amazing experiences. Doing those 3 things together allows us to create consumer love. Consumer love allows us to have long-term profitable growth, right, and build competitive advantage. And that's really, AI needs to deliver that, right? That's what we are focused on. That's how we think about it. The amazing team that we have here thinks about that every day. And so I'm going to share with you a few key principles, right? So number 1, when it comes to, I talked about competitive advantage, right? So where does competitive advantage come from? Obviously, people is where competitive advantage comes from. It is the most important thing. Now, we call this in our company math and magic. And so what math and magic is that AI has a role to play, right? AI is the math. And AI really allows to elevate the human potential that is in our people in our company. The people bring the magic. And really, that's what we have to think about. And so AI's job really is to focus the creativity of people where it matters the most, right? Think about that. If you can have all your creative juices focus on where it will make a meaningful difference to your consumers. That's the role of AI, which is the math, and then the role of human potential, human creativity, which is really elevating what the humans deliver. So how do you achieve that? Look, AI now, for the price of a cup of coffee, you can have the most sophisticated engine that ever existed. Big companies have maybe hundreds of millions of dollars being spent on data science and architecture and computers and et cetera, guess what? The AI that is coming out of the box is just as good, maybe even better, right? Now, that doesn't mean that we don't need to invest in data and technology, because that's the kind of cherry on top. But anybody here can get the power of AI. So nobody has an excuse not to have the math, right? But what is the magic? Magic really comes from fostering a culture of creativity. Do we have systems, processes in our company that allows for people to really think creatively? That's really, the way we think about math and magic. And so, all right, who here, show of hands, feels that at work, or maybe not work, you guys waste your time doing useless things that you wish you didn't need to do, right? Okay, claps, a few. So maybe actually only a few hands, okay. I thought maybe everybody would raise their hands because I feel like there's a lot of time that I waste doing useless stuff. Okay, Angad, thank you so much for raising your hand. Well, guess what? You know what? AI should allow you to do all the useless, boring things that you hate to do. AI should be doing that. So what does that mean? That allows us to do things that we love. My boss, Jane Lauder, says something really, really nice that I love, which is people who are in creative fields, right? They want to do creative work. They don't want to spend their time looking for information or knowledge or, I don't know, change colors or fill, whatever, that is sort of annoying. So what we're seeing at Estée Lauder Companies is there's immediate productivity gains right out of the box. What does that mean? That allows our creative people to spend their time and their effort on doing things that they love, right? So that's extremely important, number one. Message number 2 on this slide, and again, I put these slides up just because I do strategy, but maybe what I'm going to say is maybe the things to take away. Number 2, right out of the box, there's capability expansion. Now imagine you being a data scientist, and you can create images just as good as people who are in creative. Or if you're a creative and you could do statistics better than data scientists. That's what generative AI out of the box will give you. So think about your capability expansion in doing the job that you need to get done. Okay, so now when it comes to, again, I'm still in strategy, right? Really, at the end of the day, I think that there's basically going to be technology companies, and then there's going to be culture companies. Those are the 2 types of companies that we're going to have. At Estée Lauder Companies, we want to have both, right? We want to have a culture company that really relies on technology. And so this slide basically says that as automation increases, as generative AI becomes everywhere, right, and sort of becomes every part of it, what everybody does, there's a counter trend as well, which is consumers want more belonging, more high touch, more human, more authentic. So consumers are going to demand that. And so companies have to think about that cultural relevancy, that how do we produce things that are actually, the high touch, the really craft really becomes important. And so just maybe think about that, and that's what we think about a lot at our company as well. So maybe a couple of things here. Some of the speakers have already mentioned this. I'm just going to focus on the right-hand side here. Look, when it comes to generative AI, right, and maybe think about the internet, the true value really was when you're able to not just get information, right? So internet was able to get us information. Generative AI is right now able to create information for us. But guess what? The true value of the internet exploded when we were able to connect people together, right? When we were able to allow communities to form. And so I don't have the answer yet, but what is generative AI going to do to enable that, right? How is it going to allow us to bring communities together? How is it going to allow us to really do things that are going to improve belonging and connection with people? But that said, though, it's very important to think about end-to-end connection. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Number 2, agility, right? Why, for example, people launch new products in this, I'm sure in this audience. Why do we have to think about new products process as a sequential process, right? First, you think of an idea, then you brief your R&D people, then product gets produced, then you brief your creative, then images get created, then you go to decision making, then you go to regions, then you make some changes, and you know what? The things that you started completely changed by the time you got to the end, and maybe you have to start all over again. guess what? Generative AI should be able to give you agility, and you can create the end first, get it right with consumers, right? And then build the actual product and the creative and the story, et cetera. That's really what we think about when it comes to agility. Knowledge, we talked a lot about knowledge. There's no reason to not have knowledge in the company anymore. So we got to go quickly from data, insights, knowledge to have people have more wisdom and time, everybody knows here. So, okay, so that was high-level stuff. Again, kind of like the big picture. Let me spend a few more minutes on what we have learned. So there isn't a one-size AI fit all. At our company, we have different archetypes. There's different AI solutions where if you want to have an assistant, for example, for taking meeting notes, that's different to, for example, if you want retrieval of your financials, which is different to if you want to have, access to your insights and a library of your insights, which is different to if you want an advisor to help you with creative ideas. You get what I'm saying here, right? So it's not that you can take, for example, the amazing OpenAI, ChatGPT, and think that it will do it all for you. That's where the value capture isn't there. And so really thinking about how you guys are going to get there is really how we've approached it. Number two, again, look, I talked about strategy. So the colors here, right? Orange, blue, pink, gray, that's our strategy. You know what? Start with the things that are easy. But think about the strategy. And then, which is the left-hand side, right? So it's a company strategy with AI solutions that are easy. But then, you know what? Guess what? On the right-hand side, think about how they connect. Because connection is where the value is. It's not in individual tools or individual solutions. Just this one, maybe just the message here is that the algorithms, models are evolving so fast. And you know what? We spend a lot of time with OpenAI engineers, Google engineers, Microsoft engineers. Even they don't know where this thing is going. So you know what? Let's start with the end vision of how we deliver to our customers the best experience. And then let's backcast it, right? Because you don't want to have a tool that hallucinates to be in front of a consumer. Maybe we get there one day, maybe we don't. But let's assume that we can get there, the technology can get us there. How do we backcast and do foundational things right now? How do we have internal applications and fine-tuning on that foundation tool so that we can actually drive value, et cetera? So just the idea here being backcasting and connecting it to what might be an eventual solution. So the other thing that we have learned is don't go at it alone, right? There's a saying, if you want to go fast, go alone or whatever it may be. But there's another thing. This thing is so expensive that, and you have these big established players spending so much money in CapEx, there's no reason to actually think about spending so much money building your own solution. My experience has been everybody wants to figure out how are you going to solve the use case using AI, right? So become the people who know how to take the technology, which already is amazing and exists, and reduce it to practice. At Quilt, who are amazing, amazing partners, that's what we do. We say, you know what, you guys are good at the build and the connection. What we're going to do is think about how we're going to use it in the company to really drive value. The other thing I want you guys to take away from here is that, similar to one of the previous slides that I shared, every technology player has a role and has a purpose and should be used. For example, right, like Google is amazing at go-to-market. Adobe is amazing at creative, as an example, right? Microsoft is amazing at driving productivity. For us, it might be different for you guys. OpenAI is amazing at allowing us to build chatbots, these like GPTs, right? And we have over 200 of them. But also, that's all technology. There's also the people, and then there's a process. And so we also have universities that we've partnered with around how do we think about inventing processes so that jobs that need to be done can be rethought of. When it comes to people, talent upskilling, extremely important. What is your strategy on that? So my last learning, and then I'll go to my sort of third area, which is this case study, is, so look, we hear a lot about prompt engineering this and, complicated words, which I think sometimes kind of like scare me as well. When it comes to upskilling, it really is simple. what I have found is the best people who are prompt engineers or the best people who know how to use ChatGPT are actually best teachers. People who are good at teaching new employees or teaching others on how to get something done, teaching an intern, and just teach the chatbot that way and speak to the chatbot. Just keep it simple, right? And so what we call this in our company is that it's the art of asking questions. I think Rashad mentioned it, or someone mentioned it earlier, that this machine has all the answers. So we no longer need to pay people, promote people, even give people degrees and high GPAs based on answers that they know, right? Because the machine's going to have the answers. We need to train them, pay them, promote them for knowing how to ask the question. And the art of the question is what gives you the right answer. And that's part and parcel of fostering a culture of creativity. We don't know exactly what those questions are, but I think the creative people together will need to figure out, OK, for this job, what is the sequence of those questions? And so this idea of art of questions, extremely important, and it's a learning that, that we've been thinking about. OK, so I feel like so Quilt is amazing partners of ours, and I probably should have put a Quilt logo here. But I'll be honest, I have been wanting to keep Quilt a secret because it's been a way for us to really have this competitive advantage. But now that I saw in this conference this kind of solution being shared with so many industries, thank you, Angad, for scaling it. I'm just joking. I can say that this is really Quilt, and what I want to show to you is I'm going to play a video, and hopefully it's going to show you this case study of how generative AI solutions connect end-to-end, right? It's not just one solution, because that's not going to give value. It's about the art in connecting the solutions together to get to your sort of end goal. So let's play the video. You can click it. I don't want to.
Estée Lauder Companies is transforming trend activation, empowering teams to react now with groundbreaking tools that streamline trend discovery, matching, and concepting. TrendSense is a digital trend board that enables teams to discover top trends in 18 markets across beauty categories. It is updated with new trends monthly, informed by a robust process that marries AI and human intelligence. Teams can deep dive into each trend, discovering content creator videos, real-time data, leading hashtags, and more. When teams identify a trend to activate, they use Claims Connect to match to products. Claims Connect revolutionizes our product claims data, empowering global teams to search against product claims. Teams then navigate to Quilt.AI, which utilizes generative AI to create new human-like concepts that seamlessly bring together the trend and product. Multiple concepts can be generated within seconds. Claims Connect allows teams to discover legally approved claims, matching trends for a product. To optimize, teams can use the generative AI chatbot capability to refine the copy, integrate approved claims discovered through Claims Connect, and instantly translate to local language, making trend activation easier, faster, and more streamlined than ever before. By leveraging data, AI, and augmenting with human creativity, we are supercharging speed to market and unlocking exponential scale, empowering ELC to win in trends to action execution and achieve excellence.
So, this is my last slide. And what I want to say is that, so look, end-to-end you saw, right? Very soon, we're also going to connect this with how much inventory do we have in our warehouses, right? How do we do virtual try-on with the trends that you just saw so that the content is actually delivering to the consumers basically what they're interested in? And then also then to really measure and then scale, right? We don't need to throw money where the trends are not hitting. Let's measure the trends and the performance of those and then put media where it matters. So I hope that was useful. If there's one thing that I want you guys to take away, if you forget everything else, is I'm the guy who opened for Trevor Noah. Thank you so much.
The opener for Trevor Noah. But on a serious note, I think we've built a few cool things together, and I think it would be impossible to replicate anything like this without the awesome partnership. So you've called us amazing a few times. I think our team, bless you, our team fights to be on the ELC projects, and I think there's some of your team members here, Rosanna and Jen and Henry and Kalindi. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.